As we move toward the end of chapter 19, we encounter something really interesting in this protest of Demetrius, a silversmith who made silver shrines. And it's really clear what his protest is about here. The way in which Paul and the apostles' message has the potential to disrupt their production and the consumption of their goods. This has come to mind, especially today, in a week, as I'm recording this at least, a week after a lot of really large protests around the country where people with assault rifles strapped to their back go to their state houses protesting the shutdown of the economy because of the stay-at-home orders that many states are experiencing right now. And I think there's something there we need to pay careful attention to beyond just what might seem to us to be a ridiculous display. There is an intersection there of religiosity and power and economic interest and, of course, racial privilege as well, as we have a very hard time imagining any racial minority showing up in masses with guns strapped to their back and then being calmly received by the officials in power. I want to read to you what really Jennings says about this passage because I think it's particularly helpful in putting this in its original context and in helping reflect on our contemporary context in relation to this. In his commentary on Acts, Jennings says, "If you want people to hate deeply, hate down to the bone, then suggest that someone or something threatens their financial stability and their theological beliefs. If you want people to be willing to kill without hesitation, suggest that these same enemies will weaken the social and political standing of a place and a people by their disrupting actions." This is what Demetrius does to whip up the crowds against Paul and the apostles and the Jewish scapegoats that will be targeted in this passage. And we can see these same dynamics at play today. So I invite you to reflect on this in light of the biblical text that you are engaging today, to look carefully at the vulnerabilities exploited and exposed by this confluence of economic and racial and religious and social dimensions that are coming to fruition right now in some of our own events surrounding this pandemic. And with Jennings, I hope that you will take up this invitation to reflect on the intersection of financial stability and theological beliefs as we see what is happening right now in our own context, bringing those two concerns so very near to one another in the response people are having to this pandemic, and in particular the economic and religious dimensions of the shutdown.